Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. For those who don't know me, I am this guy. I'm PawarTrader, and today I'm just going to be sharing with you my breakdown for this trade essentially. So I took this trade last night at London session and I made around 3% on it. Alright, let's get back straight into it. So we're on the DXY, on the 4-hour time frame. What do we see? What I could see was price was trending upwards overall. There was a nice little flag pattern here. Good demand zone being respected here. Let me change that to a demand. Another demand zone being respected here. So overall price is looking bullish and it leaves over this demand zone, and instead of respecting it, price just breaks straight through it. So as soon as price did this, my initial thoughts were that alright, we've got a change of character here obviously, and we've got a nice little break of structure, change of character, break of structure, and we had a nice little retracement into this zone. Right, so this tells us that okay, price is trending upwards, and then all of a sudden we get a break of structure and we get a nice retracement, and then price starts to weaken over. Does that make sense? So looking at this, I'm thinking the DXY is now bearish. It's not as strong as it once was, and it's starting to sort of weaken up. Those were my initial thoughts. Now, going down to the 15-minute time frame, what do we see in just this little zone here? What we see is price has started to weaken down very effectively. You've got a nice little mitigation here, a nice little breaker block being respected here, and it left over this nice little supply zone to mitigate. So these were my initial thoughts. The price is bearish on the DXY, therefore EURUSD could go stronger. Right, so what did I see on EURUSD? On the 4-hour, we can see that price was sort of trending downwards overall, and then what do we see? We saw that these equal lows here, liquidity, and all of this liquidity got taken out by this swing high right here. And what happened after this swing high? After this swing high, we had a big break of structure down here. Does that make sense? So we collected the liquidity here, and as you can see, we collected the liquidity below this low as well. So it was purely just a nice little liquidity sweep, and as we can see, there's a lot of imbalance here, guys. And what has Nick taught you about imbalance, guys? Come on. Whenever there's imbalance, it's going to get filled. Isn't that right? Whenever there's imbalance, it's going to get filled. It might not be immediate. However, it's going to get filled, bro. Like literally, just don't be a bitch, all right? It's going to get filled, okay? So this is my breakdown on the 4-hour, and let's see what I get on the 15-minute now. So 15-minute, you can see that price is basically doing the opposite of what the DXY is doing. We got a nice little demand chain coming here. Got a nice little demand chain here as well. Demand zone, I should say. Let me change that. Demand zone, demand zone. There are a bunch of little demand zones here that got respected as well. I won't draw all of them now because there's quite a few, but basically all you have to know is there was a nice little demand chain forming here. So there was a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and we got another higher high right here. So if we've got a higher high, what can we expect that's going to come? We can expect a higher low to form. Isn't that right? So where can we see a higher low forming? The general idea is it's going to be somewhere here. Sometimes finding a demand zone isn't that easy. Most of the time people tell you, right, look at the last down move before the up move, but here you can argue, right, like which down move do I look at? Do I look at this down move? Do I look at this down move? Do I look at this one? Or like what am I supposed to look at? And this can happen in a lot of situations. So what's the best solution to this? It's just to go on to the higher time frame. Trust me guys, if you just stick to higher time frame, it's gonna make life so much easier, right? So I like to trade on the lower time frames, but every time it gets confusing, just go to the higher time frame. So let's go to the 1 hour. 1 hour we see some better price movement now. We see a nice little swing pattern. However, for me, the tipper was on the 2 hour time frame right here. We can see that there was a nice clean doji candle followed by another one, and then we had a nice bullish move that broke this high right here. Makes sense? So this was where my trade was, and I decided to enter off this block here. Now you could have entered from the start of this block and then aimed for maybe this zone or something. However, I decided to enter this zone from the 70 fib level. And you might ask me, why is that? Why don't you just execute from the edge of this block? Reason being is, if you look at all the other blocks over here, right? You can see that price had retraced more than 50%. You can see that for this block, price had retraced more than 50%. So it tells you that price was actually coming into these demand zones quite nicely, and then it was moving off. So that sort of adds to your confluence in that, I can enter off of this block here and I can keep my entry down a little bit more just to increase my risk to reward ratio, and that way I can get more profits as well. So this was my initial entry, right? And actually my supply zone was over here. So I was actually aiming for a 4-to-1, somewhere up here maybe, like a 4-to-1, and this was my entry. So let's see what happens. We get triggered in, and then price moves straight up, right? And it hits TP quite nicely actually. So this was a 4% trade. However, I ended up taking profits at around this level here. Reason being, I was just gonna go to sleep. This was at around 10 o'clock, 10:15, and I just wanted to go to sleep, and I just wanted to close my profits before going to sleep. So that was it. That's my breakdown. I hope that helps. Like I said, there was just a nice demand chain that was forming, and the DXY was looking bearish as well. And let's see what happens with the DXY as well, right? The DXY didn't actually come into my supply zone. However, the price did respect the supply block here, the breaker block here, and it just kept going down. So as long as your overall direction is correct, I guess you'll be okay. And luckily I caught a nice trade here and ended up getting around a 3-to-1 on this trade here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.